Good evening. Welcome to the Woman to Woman TV show. Grab a pen and call a friend. We broadcast live Monday and Friday at 4 p.m. on Channel 6, streaming live on www.ectv. Our phone number is 773-609-4867. My name is Margot Richmond, and I'm a professional licensed insurance agent here in the city of Chicago. And I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, DeCarlo Turner.
Good evening. My name is DeCarlo Turner, and I'm the author of a book titled The Forgotten Man. And today we are featuring on Woman to Woman TV show another book author, Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr. Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr. has actually written a book, and it's called The Road from Money, A Journey to Find Way. Mr. Sylvester's book has been published by Outskirts Press, Incorporated, and if you'd like to receive more information or to contact Mr. Boyd, you can contact him at sylvesterboydjr@ymail.com. Mr. Boyd, tell us a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write this book.
The book is about my aunt who was instrumental in my life. She was a strong African-American woman who was born in 1917. The book covers the period of history from 1925 to 1937 when she arrived in Chicago. It covers a period of history that is pretty much like the beginning of our century, whereby we had the cell phones and all the things that new. At the beginning of the last century, we had the airplane and the cars all came in around that time, and I thought it was a very interesting era of our American history. And like I said, at the beginning of our century, we had the cell phones and all the electronic things came in at that point in time. Getting back to my aunt, she actually went to school in Money, Mississippi, and I don't know how many of your viewers know anything about Money, Mississippi. It's a very small town that sits on the Tallahatchie River in the Mississippi Delta. And basically, not much happened there except for people picked cotton at the beginning of the century. But one of the historical events that took place later on, beyond my book, was the killing of Emmett Till, and he was thrown in the Tallahatchie River.
Mr. Sylvester Boyd, Mr. Boyd, I'd like to just congratulate you on your book.
Yes.
Is this your first book?
This is my first book, but it won't be my last.
All right.
Okay.
Are you gearing up for the next book as well?
Yes, I've already started the next book, and I'm past chapter 1 already.
Okay.
All right.
Is your next book, is it basically along the same lines, or is it a different subject matter?
No, the subject matter will be the same. My aunt died in 2009.
Okay.
And basically it covers her life, and I would have to have a 600 or 700 page book to cover her life
cover that
of
part.
91 years. She was a very interesting and fascinating lady, a very stern lady, but also one who was very smart and intelligent. She actually went from sharecropping in Money, Mississippi on a plantation called Wildwood Plantation,
Yes.
and by the end of her life she had amassed $1 million. So that's quite a journey.
Well, Mr. Boyd, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. A little of your history yourself.
Well, I basically have done many things, had many lives. I've taught school. I ran a business called Creative Promotions, and I serviced people like McDonald's, Coors Beer out of Golden, Colorado, McDonald's, Oak Brook, Illinois. At the time that I was in business, 7-Up was out of St. Louis, and this was my own business, and I was a chief cook and bottle washer and the main salesman for this business, which took me all over the country, and I walked into many executive aisle. I can tell you, most products are manufactured and all the big name brands. And
so are you in a semi-retirement that drove you to pull out all of this information in regards to your family's history?
Yes, because I think all too often we don't connect with the past. We only connect with where we are right now. And to be a well-rounded person, you must have a vision of your past, because that is like a tree. And a tree that has roots in the soil, you can't take a tree and start at the top. You have to start at the bottom. Okay. So I was able to write this book because as a child, I was very interested in the stories told to me by my uncles, my aunts, and my great-grandfather. And that connected to me to my great-great-grandfather. And so as I traveled through life, those stories stayed with me. And I thought upon my aunt's death that it would be an honor to her. And not only to her, but this journey, the road for money, is the road from the south to the north. Between, I think, between the years of 1929 and 1970, about 6 million, approximately 6 million African Americans traveled from the north to the south. It was something called the Great Migration. And in that Great Migration, you'll find most of your grandfathers, grandmothers, and it's not just my story, but it's the story of a people. The South was treated African Americans in substandard ways. You would work all year and on a plantation picking cotton, which my aunt did, and it was something called sharecropping. And at the end of the year, you would come out on the store for all the supplies that you had. And so therefore you worked for a year for just the food that you ate, and the landowners at that point had amassed the wealth. The wealth of the South was built on this type of system. After slavery, this is the system that was instituted to keep the South financially stable. It was built on the backs of your mother, your grandmothers, your aunts, your uncles, as if you're an African American. The economy of the South and the Civil War was fought because of that system.
If I can just interject here just a moment. I hear you talking a lot about the migration in the South. What I just need to ask you, what significance of your book portrays your aunt, her as an individual? You know, we hear a lot about the South and a lot of things that happen with the South, and you know, truthfully speaking, a lot of us as African Americans, we follow our family history, and we hear a lot of stories about individuals in our families, our grandmothers, aunts and uncles, and so on and so forth. What significant role did your aunt play in your personal life? It had to be something extremely sentimental to you that would, you know, make you go forward to give her this amazing recognition that you're giving to her, and this astonishment of respect. Can you tell the audience about that?
Well, like I said at the beginning of the program, my aunt was extremely instrumental in my life.
Yes.
She bought land on 37th Street near Lake Park.
Okay.
And on Friday afternoon, I didn't know what my mother's house looked like.
You spent most of your time there with her.
She was my other mother.
Wow.
I didn't realize that maybe I was kind of poor because I had an electric train that ran around a whole room in that house, and that was my room.
Yes.
She had no kids of her own.
Okay.
And she took me and one of my cousins as her kids, the oldest two, one from her brother and one from her sister, as her kids sort of. And we went to plays on the weekends, and she owned the building. Matter of fact, she actually sold property at the University of Chicago, and we would actually go and help her collect her rent on Saturday morning.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so my love of plays came from her.
Yes.
My love of travel came from her. She actually traveled around the world in her lifetime.
Amazing.
So, and she would tell me stories about exotic places she had been.
Yes.
And really, she always emphasized, get your education, because education is really the root of everything that you need to do in your life, and everything will flow from education.
So you spent a great deal of time with your aunt.
Yes, I did.
And as you stated a couple of moments ago, your second mother.
She was my second mother.
She had a great influence on your life, and obviously so with education, because you've written this extraordinary book about her and about her life and her journey.
Yeah, well, getting back to education, she was 18 years old before she finished the 8th grade.
Wow. Because,
again, going back to the system in the South of sharecroppers, kids were kept to go to the field and chop cotton and pick cotton, and therefore it interrupted their education. But she never gave up on her education, and she was very proud of an 8th grade certificate. Well, we would take that as granted.
Mr. Sylvester, I don't mean to. There's a section in the book that talks about her asking her mother a question, and it was a sincere question. She said, "Why is it that black teachers only get an 8th grade education and the white teachers have a college education. And I believe she may have been like in the 5th grade or something like that, but she was really, really serious and she wanted some information.
You know, if you note the book under the subtitle was A Journey to Find Why, because she couldn't understand why one human group would be over another human group. Why a white person coming out in the street, you'd have to step aside in Money, Mississippi. From what I understand, back when she was a child, you'd have to step aside and let the white person go by. You'd have to say yes ma'am and no ma'am to white people. You were never yes by your main name. They never gave you a handle. Those types of things she always railed against. She always fought against. She had a intuitive, instinctive drive toward what was right at all times. And when I did wrong as a little boy, that's some of the things that she left with me.
One of the areas in the book I'm very, very fond of, I love butterflies. And it talked about her going through a field. And it was as if you, as the writer, was right there running through the field with her. You described the butterflies, you described the actual scenery. It was as if I was actually sitting watching a movie. You have really written that book well.
Well, thank you. Well, I was her. It's a funny thing when you're a writer and you actually become sometimes the person that you're writing. I'm seeing this through her eyes because I was taught a long time ago that you respect your elders, you listen to what people say, and so I was a little kid that would always sit by my grandmother, sit by my aunt, my uncles. I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to have something that many of our youth don't have today, as an extended family. I can't recall all the people in my family that made me who I am. And that is something I hope that we can kind of get back to as a people, where we actually have more than one family member. As they said, it takes a village to raise a child. And I was raised by a village.
Yes, yes. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are here speaking with book author Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr. His book he's written, The Road for Money, A Journey to Find Why. As I kind of scoured through your book, I noticed that you are very consistent with your dates of events and the time frame in which things happened, in which things came about. Did you have, was some of that based upon your personal experience or hearing stories from your aunt, giving you, recalling a certain chain of events in your life? How did it
okay,
come
it comes in two ways. One, when I was a kid, as I alluded to earlier,
Yes.
is that I sit at my grandmother's knees and I listened to my aunts and uncles. But as I went further in school, which I have a bachelor's degree in history and geography, and a associate's degree in the same, I was really interested in people and places and things, and so my recall of what happened, the events, and how I put this book together comes from my knowledge of history as well as my experiences.
That's amazing.
I've actually traveled almost around the world, so that influenced also my writings. And in later, my next book, this will come more into play because in this book, I am not in the book at all.
Okay.
Because
so the
I
next
wasn't
book
born.
is gonna you're gonna bring yourself into.
Right.
Okay.
I will be a character in the book
Okay.
because I will be with my aunt by that
Now,
time.
were you born in Chicago or were you born in Mississippi?
No, I was born in Chicago, in Cook County Hospital.
Cook County Hospital,
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Because we have, as I was talking to you, I found out that we kind of came up in around the same area. So Daniel Hill Williams School.
Yes, I attended Daniel Hill Williams School in the 50s. I was able to go to many different types of schools in my upbringing. I actually went to a predominantly African American school in my early childhood. At the time that I went to Williams School, I don't know whether you remember, there was no expressway at 22nd there.
Right.
And there was no L train there, there was parks there, and there was something called Ickes Homes and Dearborn Homes in that particular community. And some of my best friends were Oriental, we had Mexicans, we had everybody in that, I called it the little UN neighborhood. in 1958, my family not wanting me to be involved, even back in that day,
Yeah.
in street gangs and some of the things that kind of she thought would corrupt her children. My mother moved us in 1958 to the 35 acres of land which she bought in Michigan, and lived there till she just passed away this last October.
So gang activity was going on back in the 50s, and so it's just like it almost was now. How do you compare the two with the fear of a mother who lives in Chicago public housing? I lived in public housing as well. I lived down the street from you, which was Dilbert Homes. So
I compared the two by saying that back in 1958, I wouldn't know how to get a gun if somebody knocked me over with a bat. So basically, I think what has happened is our gun culture, which is that's another whole program.
Right.
Yes.
But I think everybody feels like they have a gun, and when we were kids, if somebody said something we didn't like, we would fight, and the next day we'd make up.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody says something we don't like, well, we have a gun at our disposal, and we just take care of it that way. And I think the respect for life has been lost. We've been desensitized to many things along the way, and I think a lot of things play into that.
So you're on a book tour right now with this new book that's out.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And it's very exciting to be able to take history
Yes.
and to bring it alive, to keep my ancestors and many other ancestors alive. Because, like I said, it's not just my aunt, but this is the aunts and uncles
Of many people.
of many people.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
many people were sharecroppers in the South. Many people caught the train coming north from, I think it was the Illinois Central route. Then it came up and you got off at 12th Street here
Right.
in the city. So if you counted the people who came that route, you'd be in the thousands, maybe in the millions of people who came down that track.
I'm looking at the back cover of your book here, and I just kind of want to read a little bit here. The first paragraph: "The road from Money takes you on a journey to a small town of Money, Mississippi, just after the turn of the 20th century. It is a story of Estella Reynolds, a young Negro girl growing up in America's Deep South. You follow her life as she faces racism, segregation, exploration, brutality, and poverty. You watch as she finds the joy of family life, battles to get a good education, finds her first love, and above all, tries to figure out why things are the way they are." That is, to me, a profound statement about your aunt, because so many of our young people, they don't realize the opportunities that they're faced with today are on the backs of people like your aunt.
Yes, well,
They don't realize that.
I like to say that I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
And once you realize the strength of the people that came across the ocean, and if you know history, and I'm a historian,
Yes.
and you know the difference between now and then is like night and day,
Yes.
because so many of our youth take things for granted,
Sure.
and those things were built by our ancestors, and on sweat, blood, tears.
Yes.
In this book has Haynes in it. This book has joy in it. This book has love in it. This
Yes.
book has a lot of things that make up, because the people that don't get me wrong, the people in Money, Mississippi had picnics and they enjoyed field days, and so it wasn't all tragedy and heartache.
Right.
But another thing that happens in the book is that on the day that my aunt graduated from 8th grade, which she was very proud of, and it has her 8th grade graduation in the book, someone, on the way back home from her graduation, someone was hanging from a tree.
Wow.
So and I think as a people, we have to stay connected.
Yes.
And I think there's been a serious disconnect between the generations. And right now, the older generation don't stand to understand the present generation and vice
Yes.
versa.
Yes.
And I think what I tried to do here to show you the continuum, a continuum from the time that she came to, that she was born to the time that she came to Chicago. This book covers that period of time,
Yes.
from 1925 to 1937.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Boyd, I hope and pray that throughout your tour that you end up in a lot of churches, because I believe
Yes.
that in the Sunday school classes, some of the churches now are understanding that since Black history has been removed in a lot of schools from our children, that I believe that that would be a vehicle that you could follow through on, that they can maybe use for the summer programs, or
Yes.
incorporate that in the history part of their teaching in the summer school programs,
Yes.
Yes.
and ongoing.
Yes,
you know.
I hope to do some speaking tours and lecturing. I do have already some things on my calendar that lead me down that path, because I think what we all have to do. Our time on earth is finite. We don't live forever, and nobody remembers how much money a person made, or how much big time cars they drove. They remember the love. They remember the respect.
Yes.
They remember the little details, the things like the butterflies going across the field.
Wow.
Being connected with God is being connected with what goes on in nature as much as man-made.
Yes. To our listening audience and to our viewing audience, if you would like to contact Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr., his telephone number where he can be reached is area code 773-225-7008. Once again, his email address, if you'd like to write to him, is sylvesterboydjr@ymail.com. The letter Y, the word mail.com. Once again, we are featuring on Woman to Woman show this evening Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr., who is an incredible author who has given us a great deal of history with regards to his aunt and how she has played an important part in his life. Once again, the title of his book is The Road from Money, A Journey to Find Why.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvester, we still have a little bit more time now, so
Yes.
I'm looking and kind of excited. I'm really excited about purchasing the book
Yes,
and
me
sending
too.
it as a gift. I'm a family member of Langston Hughes, and I know that when we were coming up, we had to sit many evenings and listen to the poetry, some of the plays that Langston had done, and through Black History Month, it was always activities going on.
Yes.
And I have a cousin that has a Langston Hughes museum that she travels around the country with. So I'm just hoping
Oh,
that
that's
we get a
amazing.
chance to get this information out,
Yes.
and that the churches embrace it, the schools embrace it,
Yes.
the community embrace it, because once you pick up that book, and I'm not one to read a lot of history books, but I was stuck. I mean, it was a fascinating, just a couple of chapters that I was able to
Yes.
read.
Yes.
It's almost as if he was the little boy running through the field.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I'm just saying, your writing is, I
It
can't
is
even find the
incredible.
word. How do you say it?
It is incredible.
All right.
It is, and and I have to, coming from one author to another, I have to honestly say, I have a great deal of respect
Yes.
for your writing as well as your style of writing. And a lot of times with authors, it's a little difficult to kind of put things into perspective.
Yes.
But you can tell that the
Right.
way that you've written this book, the book is very well researched, and Mr. Boyd is extremely accurate with his accounts, and you can tell, just by being a writer, I can tell that he's very accurate with his information. And not only that, but he puts you in that
Yes.
situation as you're reading. Just from
Yes.
just from the little bit that I've read, it's almost as if I was sitting right there watching everything, and that's very difficult to
Yes.
do, because some writers, as you know, they don't have the ability to do that. You have a very special gift to be able to bring the reader into the character, and which is very difficult to do. So I'd like to commend you on that, and I'd like to congratulate you as well. And I wish you a great deal of success in all of your endeavors. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be extremely successful with this book. If I were you, I would also try to reach out to a lot of the universities
Yes.
and possibly try to set up a lecture of some sort. Spelman and Morehouse colleges, universities in Atlanta, Georgia. And it would be interesting to see what their divisions with African American studies. I'm pretty sure they would probably take interest with that too.
Well, at the present time, you're kind of reading my mind, because
Yes.
we're contacting, and as a a lot of the professors in the department are, of course, for summer.
Yes.
But we are contacting historical black colleges
Oh,
now. So
wonderful,
that is high on my
wonderful.
agenda.
So that's just a confirmation then. We could say that.
Okay.
That's about to happen. That's good.
certainly- I
We're gonna
certainly
be praying
appreciate
for
that.
you that happens for you.
I certainly
Yes,
appreciate that.
yes.
And to our listening audience, once again, you can contact us at 773-609-4867. For more information, you can call the Woman to Woman TV show. And once again, we stream live on www.ectv. That's Monday and Friday at 4 p.m. This will be on air broadcast. Thank you.
And for more information for a Woman to Woman TV show, you can write to Woman at woman, the letter 2, woman, TV show at gmail.com. That's woman to woman, the number 2, woman to woman, TV show at gmail.com. Once again, Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr., we are interviewing him. He's a book author, first-time book author at that, very good book author at that. And we are having a discussion concerning his book about his aunt, The Road from Money, A Journey to Find Why. Mr. Boyd, once you do this book, what are your future plans with your new book coming out?
Well, my new book is, like I said, chapter 1 is written, and
Okay.
it starts at the point that this book ends with her getting off the train in Chicago. My new book picks up
Oh, wow.
in 1937 as she
That's
gets
gonna
off
be
to the
great.
train. So it's a continuous series of 3 books.
Okay.
And the next book will go from the year 1937 to the year 1968.
Okay, well, Mr. Boyd, Sylvester Boyd, we're getting ready to wrap our show up, and what I'd like to say to you is, once again, congratulations, and I'm really, really excited that you came to the Woman to Woman show, and you're sitting here with Miss DeCarlo
Turner.
Turner. Why I
Yes.
can't get this name?
That's okay.
Say it again, girl.
DeCarlo Turner, the author of The Forgotten Man.
All right, good. So once again, you can contact us at Woman to Woman TV show. We will be airing Friday and Monday at 4 p.m. on Channel 6, streaming live at www.ectv.
And once again, to contact Woman to Woman or to write to the show, you can write to the show at Woman to Woman TV show at gmail.com. Once again, our guest for today, Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr., his book, The Road from Money, A Journey to Find Why. And Mr. Boyd, once again, we'd like to congratulate you on your success with the book. And as an author, to you, I wish you the very best in your endeavors. And once again, excellent writing. Very good writing.
Thank you.
Very good.
I most appreciate that.
Yes,
Alrighty.
yes.
Because we'll be looking for you.
Oh, yes. We'll be looking for more things.
That, I remember the color purple.
Yes.
And I was all
This
excited.
kind of reminds you of
Yes.
that's why I
Yes.
said, you put the person in the character, and this, and maybe I'm having a premonition here, but you can almost see this
Yes.
book as being an actual movie or
Right.
play.
You know,
You can actually see that.
That's
Yes.
something that
You can see that.
I've already been contacted by people who
Yes.
want to take it into.
Wow. Oh, well,
Okay.
here we go. Well,
See?
we're sitting here with a celebrity.
Well,
Mr.
I wouldn't say that. I just hope that the book and the knowledge imparted on
Yes,
my
yes.
fellow human beings is
Yes.
something that will make the world a better place.
Yes.
Alrighty. Once again, you were live with the Woman to Woman TV show, located here in Evanston on Channel 6. You can contact us on, at 773-609-4867. My name is Margot Richmond, and it's been a pleasure this evening with you. And my co-host?
DeCarlo Turner, the author of The Forgotten Man. It's been a pleasure to be here with you as well, Mr. Boyd, Mr. Sylvester Boyd Jr., once again, author of The Road from Money, A Journey to Find Why. Thank you for joining us this evening.